Start working on your most primary relationship. Your primary relationship isn't with yourself, it's you and God. And if you think of all the different synchronicities that have happened in your life already, do you think you did that? No.
And today I'm joined by Colette Baron-Reid. Colette is the creator behind some of the many Oracle card decks that you might have seen or might actually have at your house. She's a best-selling author, internationally acclaimed Oracle expert, spiritual intuitive, and personal transformation thought leader.
One of the reasons why I began to be so fascinated with manifestation, because when you have so much hanging on something, the universe is going to give you the form it thinks it's good for you. That's why people lose hope or lose faith. They get so attached to the outcome or the form of the outcome, when really what they're looking for is an experience, is a feeling, is a way of evolution. The book of changes, right? How things change. Norse runes, which were really about very nature-based. And then, of course, the tarot. There is an intersection between those three that are universal, because every oracle that is created, and certainly is created today, is a living artifact of our culture. Now, what I wanted to do was create something that would last beyond our cultural times. We were direct descendants of Genghis Khan. I would see things, and I took my tarot cards out and I would do readings for people. And I didn't realize that I had a huge spiritual awakening. And that spiritual awakening...
Greetings and welcome to the Dr. Espen podcast. I am your host, Espen. Today I'm joined by Colette Baron-Reid.
And Bazoo.
And Bazoo, the beautiful little dog who is just the angel companion in this beautiful transmission. Colette is the creator behind some of the many Oracle card decks that you might have seen or might actually have at your house. She's a best-selling author, internationally acclaimed Oracle expert, spiritual intuitive, and personal transformation thought leader. She is an author of many books, including best-selling author at Hay House. And today we're going to have a conversation about the following topics. Are you ready? We've got manifestation, but not the blasé woo-woo, how to manifest, like real divination, communication with spirit, how to call it into this dimension. We want to talk about sovereignty. We want to talk about agency. How do we take responsibility for our lives? And we want to talk about the opportunity for us to connect to spirit and manifest the life of our dreams. I want to say a special welcome to the show. Colette, how are you this morning?
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. We tried so many times to get this going, so I'm very grateful you gave me another shot.
Of course. I love it. And I opened up this intro by talking about Oracle cards because for me, in the beginning, I was a bit stuck in my ego. I was like, what do you mean pull a card? Okay, thanks. But then I started thinking, you know what? Maybe there's something to it. And honestly, my first experience with it, I was in Peru and I looked at the card deck, and one card was so bright and it was like, oh my gosh, look at it. It's glowing. It's in my face. How could I not pick this card? And I pulled it and looked at it and it said the path of service. And I just went, oh my gosh, my whole body truth pumped. So I've been using Oracle cards for, 10 years. And I love getting up in the morning, like this morning, having my organic cacao, with my morning ceremony, and then pulling a card and reading about it. So I just wanted to throw it in there. Just thank you so much for your work and what you're doing. Can you please start with a little bit about your story and how your work with divination started? And yeah, let's take it from there.
I'll tell you how I got to where I got to, right? So my story is interesting because I had this capacity to connect to information that was not my own, right? So, we share energy, we share consciousness, but some of us have better boundaries, others don't. So I didn't have any. So growing up, it was very difficult because I didn't know where I ended and other people began. And I also would think somebody said something to me and I would repeat something to them and they would say, how do you know that? I said, did you just say that? And they had not. So I was picking up thoughts and information when I was very young and I didn't understand it. Now, I came from immigrant parents. My father was Serbian and actually Mongolian as well. He used to love telling us that we were direct descendants of Genghis Khan. And my mother was Polish and French, but a German national. And after World War II, they came to Canada. And had that European work ethic, that also that you're going to work hard. Money doesn't grow on trees, and you're going to get an education. And in my case, I was going to be a lawyer. And that was the end of that, right? So my father came with 14 cents in his pocket. And they were very traumatized after World War II, as many people were. My dad was a counter-espionage agent. He would build bridges for the Germans and blow them up to the British. And then, and he was also a guerrilla fighter in Yugoslavia. So he's got, and all the stories were really true. It was pretty amazing. My mom, she picked up body parts in Berlin. That was, and my grandfather, her father, her mother had her out of wedlock, died in a concentration camp. Now, I never really quite got all the information about it. My mother, I believed that he was Jewish, but when I had my DNA done, it could be just that he was part of the French resistance movement, because they also picked them up and put them in the camps, right? So, but bottom line is, they came with a lot of trauma. I tuned into that trauma. Like, I'm sure that in the womb, life was not going to be safe. I had to hide who I was. Yeah. If I was too different, it would be a problem. Mm-hmm. So fast forward, I was quite smart in school, but I had a lot of issues. Like, I became bulimic when I was 14. I didn't feel like I had control or agency or sovereignty over any part of my life, but what 14-year-old does, really. But just everything was just at me. It never was an idea that this could become something, but I very quickly became an alcoholic and addicted to drugs. So even though I went to a private girls' school, my father worked very hard. He was a land developer, and they made a lot of money quickly. And off we went to fancy schmancy private school, where my father anglicized our last name because he had a title in the old country, and he made it our last name. So it was Baron, right? So it was actually Bogdanovich. So I knew all of these things, like everything that wasn't true, right? It was around me and in me. And so the need to escape was very, very big. So I had a lot of mental health issues, a lot of trauma. I had a very violent experience when I was 19. We're not going to go into the details. But that set me off around a series of sexual violence with men that I was trying to find a different ending to the story, basically. So then I hit bottom and got clean and sober when I was 27. So 1986, January 2nd, 1986, I got sober after being a cocaine addict. The person I was with, I was also in the music business. I should say this, like this woo-woo stuff was, I was in law school, right? Until I quit. But I just was this, and it was just not okay to have that. I remember my nanny, we had a Scottish nanny named Mrs. Kelly, telling my mom, I was little, you're, in a very heavy Scottish brogue. Nowadays, you're not supposed to do that, but whatever. I was pretty good at it when you could. But basically, she's got the sight. And my mother was freaking out, saying, like, what do you mean? Don't say that, da, da, da. And Mrs. Kelly was trying to explain to her, no, she has the sight. And I thought it meant that I didn't need to wear glasses. And I didn't understand why my mom was mad, because everybody in the family wore glasses except for me. So I just thought it meant that. But anyway, fast forward way down the road, during the time I was drinking and using, I was in the music business with a known music producer in that world, right? Where cocaine, drugs, alcohol in their 80s, that's when we were told it wasn't, it wasn't addictive. Ha ha ha. But, I would see things and people would, I took my tarot cards out and I would do readings for people. And that was just kind of the thing. And it was not spiritually clean because I was an active addict, right? And I knew that I always sought God. It felt to me that God was chasing me around with a fly swatter. You know what I mean? Like, let's get her. And I didn't realize that I was the moving energy was my own. When I hit bottom and got clean and sober, I had a huge spiritual awakening. And that spiritual awakening set this in motion. So where I am here in front of you. So I really attest that every single thing in my life, I'm almost 40 years sober, one day at a time, clean and sober. I started Cocaine Anonymous in Toronto after about a year and a half with 2 other guys. And I'm not active in that program, but I was very involved in 12-step programs. It saved my life. I couldn't stay clean on by myself. And I had this extraordinary spiritual awakening where I just knew that anything that had happened to me that I was victimized by had a purpose. So and interestingly enough, the big violent thing that happened to me, I actually left my body. And you would say, a psychiatrist would say I had a psychotic break, right? But where I went was in the upper corner of the room and I could see everything. And that's actually what happens when I do mediumship now and readings. That's where I go. It's like I'm able to disconnect and dissociate. So it actually, looking back at some of the really painful experiences I had, I can see now that they were like honing something in me, like sharpening the parts of me that needed to be available to others. But the task was that I needed to do the work. So, and what was the work? The work was really coming back to remembering, who I'm really supposed to be, who I am as my better nature, and also to clean up all the garbage and all the ancestral patterning that it was no one's fault. No one, I had great parents. I mean, God forbid. I'm so grateful I never had any kids, to be honest, because if I would have ended up with a me, I don't know what I would have done, because they did so much for me. They were incredible people. Anyhow, how did I fall into this? So I didn't want to do this. This was the easiest thing, because I wanted to be a recording artist. I was a singer-songwriter. I would tell people, I was doing readings and telling people, I don't really do this. I'm really a singer. Don't come back next year. I won't be here. I'll be famous. Or it was never fame, actually, that I was ever interested in. It was redemption. I didn't understand what I was trying to manifest was something that meant something. I assigned meaning to the arrival of this dream of mine, but it was so heavy with hidden agendas. And that's one of the reasons why I began to be so fascinated with manifestation, because, when you have so much hanging on something or certain attachments, like the universe is going to give you the form it thinks it's good for you. It's not that's why people lose hope or lose faith. They get so attached to the outcome or the form of the outcome, when really what they're looking for is an experience, is a feeling, is a way of evolution. But I'll come back to that. So really quickly, I was doing readings with tarot. So I knew the tarot very well. I taught it I knew the I Ching, I knew Norse runes. I also was a very obsessive, strange little nerd. So of course I had all these strange books on bird augury from ancient Greece and Rome, and how do you do, water divination. So I was fascinated with this conversation that has been since the beginning of time, that we have scratched symbols into pieces of bark and used those as a means to communicate with a power greater than ourselves, right? It's not new. So the first deck I created, which actually became the Wisdom of Avalon, my first deck with Hay House, but I had and it was interesting because now, of course, you can go online or chat GPT, which does not know how to do any oracles, just so you know, if anybody's listening, it cannot make one, and it isn't one. It is not a portal to spirituality. FYI. I digress anyway. We can talk about that later. So I found the intersection between those three ancient oracles, which were artifacts of cultures that are still in existence today, right? The Chinese methodology of seeing the book of changes, right? How things change. Norse runes, which were really about very nature-based. And then, of course, the tarot, which came from the medieval times when society in Italy was very similar to what we have today in terms of power structure, etc. But there is an intersection between those three and others, of course, that are universal, because every oracle that is created, and certainly is created today, is a living artifact of our culture. Now, what I wanted to do was create something that would last beyond our cultural times, if you will, like things that are going on, now may not have the same significance in 10 years, right? I wanted something that would last, universal, that could speak beyond the tarot, for example, which was using still the medieval imagery of the devil and like the Five of Pentacles, where you're stuck outside the church, and the daggers, and all of the way. Yes, those things are true, but there are higher truths. There's cleaner truths to that. So I made a deck of 30. You know what I'm saying, right?
Oh my gosh. Yes. Thank you. Keep going. This is powerful.
Okay. So I never thought it would ever be a career. Like, that's what's so crazy. Like, I did it because I wanted a personal clarity deck for myself that I could also check in with, because transformation became the purpose of my life. When you work a 12-step program, you're constantly looking at ego sublimation. You're constantly saying, thy will be done through me. Relieve me of the bondage of self so that I may better do thy will. Thy will, right, not mine. Thy will, not mine, be done, just in case mine sucks, right? So, because the universe has way more, and God knows me a little bit better than I do. So we learned the concept of surrender, etc. So I thought, what could I make that would then reflect something also to the client? And it just was for me, and I needed it for my own personal journey, right? And actually, I just discovered when I first got sober, I forgot this most important part. So I went to see a Jungian therapist because I had a lot of gunk that I couldn't bring into an AA meeting, and it wasn't appropriate. So I needed to see a psychiatrist or therapist. And so I went and saw this woman who was a Jungian therapist, and she pulled out a deck of tarot cards. And I'm like, I didn't come for a reading. Like, what are you doing? Like, what am I here? Am I paying for this? Wait, I'm here for therapy. I'm supposed to tell you my woes, right? And then you're going to tell. And so she just said, pick 10 cards. I'm like, oh God, here we go. And instead of using the way I use them, she showed me how I was reflected, how my pain was reflected there, how my decisions were reflected there, how my dominant energy was reflected there, how I was evolving. And I was gobsmacked, and I was like, I am obsessed. And so I went every week. And I started doing it differently. I started realizing, wait a sec, this isn't about predicting the future. There's no such thing as absolute determinism anyway, which is after a while I figured out. But this was about, because I would see people and I was really good at predicting. I was I built my reputation on predictive accuracy. But I was like, you could do better than this. I'd be saying, like, let me stop me right here. Like, what if you evolve beyond what I'm seeing for you? Would you want that? Would you want to try something else? Would you want more? And invariably they go, okay. So let's switch it a little bit and say, what else could be possible for you if you did certain things to heal yourself? And that changed the trajectory of my experience with all divination tools from that point on. And that was a long time ago. So I certified as an aromatherapist also. And as soon as I started touching, I refused to admit that I was a medium. That was too much. Okay. Like, it was cool to be a singer-songwriter and to have be a starving artist. I was also a painter. I painted on people's clothing, but God forbid I was going to talk to dead people. That was 2 step too far. My mom was still alive at that time. My parents died back to back, very tragically. My father lost all the family's money. We lost our home. The bank took our house. They went from being well-off, wealthy people to poverty-stricken. And it was not his fault. He got Alzheimer's overnight and started drinking. My mom got a brain tumor. My dad died of a stroke. She died. So we had a period of 7 years in there where there was nothing but stress and fear in the house. And I just wanted to get out because I got clean and sober. Everybody else went the other way. So my mom loved going to psychics, by the way, and didn't want anything to she didn't know what I was doing. She really didn't. All I ever talked about was music. That was all I ever talked about. My band, I'm going to do this. I'm going to get a record deal. Blah, blah. Never brought this other stuff up. So a woman goes, she was working part-time in a dress shop because she had to go to work. And a woman came in and said, oh my God, I just had a reading from the most incredible person. It blew my mind. I cannot even believe it. I need to sit down. Eva, my mother's name was Eva. And she goes, oh my God, who is it? Tell me her number. I want to go see it. I need to have an answer. She cans her on a piece of paper. She puts my name and phone number. My mother goes, this is my daughter. So before my mother died, she really accepted this part of me. And I'm so grateful for it because my dad was already far gone. And it was just the greatest gift that she knew this about me. And I even gave her a reading. It was so funny because my dad had just died. And 6 months later, I mean, he was old too. My dad was 20 years older than my mother. And in his mid 80s, my mom was actually, she died younger than I am now because I'm 67. So I gave her a reading and I told her, I said, oh my God, I see this man and I see him and I said, Mom, you're going to have a romantic thing with this guy. And then I didn't see him then she did. So she met this man who she had known for many years, actually knew my parents. Gorgeous Austrian guy, and apparently like swept her up and planted a kiss on her, but she couldn't wait to tell me. And then I did a reading again. I said, let's find out what's going to happen. He wasn't in the cards. The day that I did the reading for her, he died of a heart attack. Right. So, and then my mom got very sick. Like just a couple months later, we found out she had a brain tumor and she died a few months later. And we didn't know this, but my mother, because she just could not see herself beyond a well-to-do area, like where she lived, but she would have run out of money and ended up in a poorhouse. Like she literally died, maybe with not even a full year's amount of money for her to live on. Like that would be it. So it was pretty traumatic. Anyway, so knowing that she knew this, so I kept doing it and pursuing music. And this is a very interesting thing. So took me years and years. I didn't even care anymore. After a while, I realized, Jesus, I'm supposed to be doing these readings. Like I cried one day after 6 years. We didn't have internet, by the way, no internet, no cell phones, think about it, right? The internet didn't exist at that point. I had a phone with one of those little, you put it on and there was nothing. We had pay phones. People gave my phone number out in airports all over the world. And by the time I had been doing readings for 6 years, I had clients from 29 countries. And I remember crying when somebody called me from India. They said they were calling for Delhi. I'm not going to use I'm not going to do the accent, not allowed, but I was very good at it at one point. And I thought he was calling from the Delhi up the road, right? So he said he was calling from Delhi. And I was like, well, it sounds pretty crackly. Are you the guy up the road? No. So, and it was crazy. And then I hung up the phone that day and I started bawling because I thought, what am I trying to run away from? Still wanting the other, right? But I kind of gave my gift. I said to God, okay, fine. If I'm the real deal, you keep the people coming. And if I am not, take it away. Take it all away from me. Here I am.
The whole theme of this is so powerful and so necessary. I studied this for a while. I wanted to know where a lot of suppression and suffering and lack of sovereignty came from. I found some research out of Australia, actually, where this palliative nurse had been caring for thousands of people on their deathbed. And she had asked them all the same question: what do you regret the most? Now that you know that you're dying, what would you have done differently? She was logging the answers and she put it together in a book. Ended up being called The 5 Common Regrets of the Dying. We can easily look this up on Google.
I know this book.
You heard of this, right?
Yes.
And what she found was that the number one regret out of thousands of people on the deathbed was, and I quote, "I wish I had the courage to live a life true to me and not the life that other people expected of me."
Oh.
Boom.
Oh.
And I note in your share, your parents wanted you to be a lawyer. You were studying law, but you cocaine.
Chip on my shoulder for years.
Then you thought you wanted to be a music artist, and eventually spirit led you in the right way and you surrendered. What advice do you have to the people right now, knowing that the greatest, most likely regret that each listener and viewer will have is that they aren't living their true life? What advice do you have to each and every person that needs to hear this, that needs to shake off their fake or inauthentic self, maybe change their job, change their life, or whatever it might be?
So I want to finish the story that will make a little bit more sense about how I'm going to answer this. So I eventually did get a record deal. I'm an EMI recording artist on EMI music label. And I got the record deal when I was 40. I look young, so they thought I was much younger until they found out it was a big scandal. But anyway, so I got what I wanted. And it didn't give me what I wanted, right? So but I love music, and I love my music, and I'm still a musician, and I still write music, and I still sing with other people. But now it's not for my identity. So anything that you're chasing that has too much baggage attached to it is going to teach you a lesson that you better be prepared to learn. Right. So a life worth living. I do not regret that at all. I recorded with some incredible musicians. I was critically acclaimed. I loved it. But the universe said, you get this, but you're not meant to do this. I couldn't have. I would have died. I was too fat, too old, the music business is horrifying. But the point is that follow your dream. Don't bang on the doors that are closed. Go to the open doors. Be curious. Don't lose your curiosity over your entitlement. Like if you think, I am entitled to this dream, this should be because I want it, therefore I should have it. And that's not how manifesting works. Manifestation works in partnership with divine intelligence. And that when we are asking for our purpose to be shown to us, and when we are divinely inspired to want something or to desire something, you say, show me the way and show me the right form. So we don't always know when we are not living, because we have to have certain lessons sometimes. I think that we get to that through this maturity. Like if I don't avoid pitfalls. I don't avoid the obstacles. I ask, like, okay, what is that there for? Now, I had to learn the hard way, but now I look back on that and go, well, would I have been happier? But then I think, but look at what I learned. Well, look at the wisdom that I gained from that. So I just kind of want to answer that, where what would I say to people who aren't living it? Learn your lessons well, because there's a price to pay. And then as you age, like I'm 67, I don't put up with shit from anybody now. You don't tell me how to virtue signal. You don't tell me how I'm supposed to be. I've started a whole new career now again, but which the universe gave me, and I've just followed along. And it's like, don't waste your time, judging yourself even or others for their lack of awakening. Or some people are slower than others. There's a lot of sleeping people right now.
Oh, yeah.
Find your people, learn to evolve and grow, and be willing to change your mind. Like recognize that, guess what? If I'm going to evolve, I might have to leave this behind. Evolution is not about staying the same. Once one thing is your appropriate path, it could change and no longer be that. So that's a really long answer to that one question.
I love it. You know what? I was really stubborn and I thought I knew. Well, let me correct. I knew what I wanted, but I thought I knew what it is that I was supposed to do. I love the sentence you said, don't keep banging on the doors that are closed. I did this for years. No, but this is what I'm doing and this is my mission. And God would just go, don't think so. But if you want to keep on hustling, feel free to burn yourself out. And God, did I burn myself out? And eventually I just went, you know what? Maybe it's supposed to be this direction. So I call it going left when I really should be going right. And now, honestly, so much of my life is flow. So much of my life is divination, communion, asking questions, sitting in stillness, getting direction, and then going, I don't know where this is going to end, but let's just go there. So listeners and viewers, I just want to drop this in from what Colette is saying, from what I'm sharing. What are you getting right now? And this is part of what we do on the show, Colette, is we drop little nuggets in for the listeners and viewers to make it real and tangible and applicable in the moment. So the question that I've got for listeners and viewers is,
sure,
what did you just receive? What is in your life that's a door that you've been knocking on, that is not opening, has not been opening, and might be requiring you to change directions? What does your intuition tell you? Anything you want to add?
Yeah, because so there's two things. One, I've learned to ask, take it away from me if it's not for me. I ask that more than I ask for the thing I want or the experience I want. I say, if this is not for me, make it so clear and so obvious that I will not throw my energy at this. Right. And I think the thing is for us to recover quicker. right? That we're humans. We're humans with egos and hungry hearts that will never be fed, right? Like the hungry ghosts, etc. in us. And so to make peace with those parts of ourselves that are still going to want that, but the trick is to not stay in it as long. And the more that we can get to the other side of that, which is through radical acceptance. Like, okay, I get it. This is not for me. Like, I love that you were like that, because that's why you're a good teacher, because you have real experience. It's like, this isn't theory. Those of us who are out there teaching it, we learned it the hard knocks. Like, I screwed up most of the way. Now I'm getting to teach. Like I said, I just turned 67. Now I'm looking at my work now and I'm going, wow, I had to wait till now to like finally get my shit together. And even still, I'm still evolving. But to know what I know now, to be liberated from those things, but also to have a great sense of compassion for people, we have lost our agency and our sovereignty in ways
Go
that are
there. Go there. Please blast us with this, because you know what? During COVID, in countries like Australia, people were, I'm just going to get money from the government. If I just do a couple of certain things, I can just sit on my ass, get paid the same amount that I had at my job, or, more or less, and I don't need to do anything. And honestly, the amount of passiveness that I see, and in the younger generations, like, what the F? Like, please take us to agency, because if we are in the awakening, and if governments and institutions around the world have certain agendas, what the F do we need to know right now to learn to stand on our own two freaking feet?
So, what's really funny? So, and it's not complicated. First of all, identify with the fact that now more than any other generation ever, have we effortlessly given our power away because of the algorithms that show us what, once we click on one thing, it's going to keep showing us that. It'll provide us information about the world to a particular lens. I don't even get into the conspiracy bullshit about who's on the upper end of things, because I don't need to. It's right in my face. Right. So it's like, I'm going to see this news, and this is the only thing they're going to show me because it thinks that's what I want, or it wants me to see that. So we're being screwed. And so the loss of agency is because things have become so easy. We don't have to work hard. Like, we just been told, here's what you need to shop. Here's who you need to vote for. Here's who you should be polarized against. We don't have any nuance. There's no complexity. So we go to sleep. And we're also rehearsing fear. We are conditioned to have a high stress experience. We cannot be curious when we're in stress. We can't be intuitive when we're stressed, but our instincts can turn on. And we mistake instinct for intuition. Instinct is a way for us to look for potential threats. That is not being intuitive. Not at all. That's not being that. That is triggered by a stress or a fear, an underlying threat. When we are intuitive, it's when we're in total trust and we're able to be curious. We're saying, I wonder, well, that's interesting. Like, what does the universe have in store for me? And in order to get that, we have to learn how to manage our nervous systems. We have to take our agency back. We have to make choices be with awake, conscious choice, and we need to be responsible for that awakening. And it is not moving us to any fifth frickin' dimension. I hate that. People talk about ascension. To me, that's just bullshit. It's like, we came here to be right here, right? And we're here to do the work here. We're here in this reality right now. And yes, the spiritual world is available to us in the 5D, 6D, 12D, or whatever the hell the Ds are. But ultimately, at the end of the day, this is where the action is. So we call it in, because spirit needs us to experience itself in form in this reality.
Oh, I love that.
So that's why we're even here. We're emissaries. So take our agency back, not be asleep at the wheel every day, and live in 24-hour compartments. It's not living a vast life. Don't look too far ahead either. You can have a dream, yes, but then commit to that every single 24 hours. You wake up and you get a reprieve. You get a spiritual reprieve. What are you going to do with the gift of those 24 hours? That's my question, right? What are you going to do with the gift of your breath? What are you going to do with the gift of living in a society. It's not perfect. Just don't turn into a nihilistic, apathetic person waiting for you should just give it to me crap. Our societies are devolving, but they're also this incredible green shoot of life force energy that's coming up through many of us now that are saying, wait a sec, no, not so fast, right? I'm going to have the agency to make the choice that I can make within, because we also get overridden by the structures that we vote in, or it's their turn next, right? And we are learning all the time. And I think personally, everybody needed a big wake-up call. It's because they were too passive. And now look what's happening around the world. Whoa, excuse me? I said yes to this by my passivity, by my inability to speak. And I am not a political person. I'm not. I vote. I don't talk about it. It's like I do my part. I see, and then I do the best I can with what gets dished back out. But on a day-to-day basis, if you don't practice your sovereignty and your agency in some part of your life, and I'll be honest with you, that's why I wrote the book, The Art of Manifesting, because you know who has agency? A 5-year-old, right? If you doodle like a 5-year-old and you put your energy in a feeling state that you rehearse, and you put that pen to a piece of paper and you make circles and lines and scratches and whatever, and you're rehearsing something, your reticular activating system of your brain is going to wake up and go, oh.
Exactly. I saw research on this.
Go ahead.
People that doodle in meetings, allowing their creativity to naturally flow, are actually accessing parts of their brain where they become smarter in the moment.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to ask, top 2 or 3 things that we need to do right now to claim our own agency. And then let's go over to the creativity side of things. Top 2 or 3 things. How do we claim our agency?
So decide not to give your power away. Take your head out of the sand.
Yeah. How?
How? Just open your eyes and look. Like it's not hard. There's no special magic trick for this. Open your eyes, take a look and see what it is that you are receiving, that you are being dished out, and make a decision to choose to see something else. And find something else to look at. The other thing is, go the heck into nature. Go for a walk. Take your head out of your phone and out of your computer and minimize the amount of time that you spend on those devices, because they are sucking us into them, and then we don't see anything that goes around us. So go on a media diet. Go for walks. Pick up the phone and talk to a person, and face to face, like get off the internet. It's basically, I mean, other than that, get your hands on a divination deck. And it doesn't even have to be mine. You have some fabulous Australians over there that I love, figure out how to communicate with spirit and start working on your most primary relationship. Your primary relationship isn't with yourself, with your partner, with your kids, it's you and God.
Let's go. Come on.
It's you. Call it whatever you want, but you have a power that's greater than you, and you are not large and in charge. And if you think of all the different synchronicities that have happened in your life already, do you think you did that? No. So you tune into that. That's my primary purpose, is to develop a conscious contact to a higher power on a daily basis, and to surrender my will and my life over to that and make conscious choices that I have to make, right? And not be passive and waiting for the thing to happen. And I don't even know what I just said. Those aren't 3 things, but what the hell? You figure it out.
Oh, mic drop. Okay, a couple of things. One, I know you got a hard stop in about 10, so we've got to get you back because I have a lot of unanswered questions. But we are really starting to open up and connect here now. So what do we get, ladies and gentlemen? Let's just be still and clear and summarize this for a moment, because there was so much gold in that. Look at your calendar and discern. Okay, how many days this year? How many weeks this year have you been off your phone? How many days, how many weeks have you been in nature off your phone? And I say to people, if you don't have at least 1 out of 7 days this phoneless, or at least, a week out of a quarter where you're in stillness, in meditation, in nature, you are really becoming No, you are deeply attached. So we are so addicted to these things. It's so dangerous. I'm doing a solo podcast after this one, and I'm talking about the danger of this exact thing about children and screens and how it's
Yes.
changing them. It's insane, right? But okay, so one, how many days a week have you had in nature? Write it down, do the exercise, and you'll actually realize how little it is, how disconnected you are from your mother, from nature. Two, look at what we're talking about. Are you in divination, in communication, in connection with spirit, with God, with source, with the quantum field? If you want to keep it scientific, what is your
Yeah. That's
relationship
kind of
to
what
that?
the name is. Just know that there's something bigger than you.
Yeah. Yeah. And how do you claim back your sovereignty, your agency? Are you watching television where they're telling you their vision, or are you deciding for yourself what your communion with spirit, with God is going to look like? Are you following the signs? Are you able to take charge on your
Yeah.
nervous system to live in a beautiful, present, conscious, loving state rather than in reactivity, fight or flight, and in your instincts? Can you turn on your intuition by being still and being present? These are great questions to ask. And again, if these questions are useful, if this transmission has served you, go back, listen to it again, stop it, pause, and write down the things as we go through it. This could be one of the most powerful personal development exercises you've ever done. Thank you for talking about this. And I want to ask again, before we get into a couple of last questions, anything else you want to add that's coming through in this time?
Don't take yourself so seriously and start laughing more. Like, go learn how to laugh again, and get a grip, get a little tougher skin. That's the other thing. Everybody is so oversensitive for everything. Oh my God, we can't say this, we can't say that. It has created so much angst between people and how we relate to one another. It's like, God, Lord, it is getting worse. I thought it would get better. I don't know. And I think, yeah, just don't take yourself so seriously. I take my work seriously. I take my life force seriously. I take the fact that I get to be here. But I think I'm full of shit some days, and I'm just, I'm just human. If you think you're so special, like, chronic uniqueness is a disease too. And the more we get to be told we're going to be influencers, I mean, come on. Maybe it's my age. I don't know.
I think that the lesson here is so powerful. I changed a couple of years ago. I changed the word serious to sincere. I take my work sincerely, but I
Yeah,
don't want to take,
sincerely.
but I don't want to take life seriously because I did for so long.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a doctor. I'm a physician. I've got these accolades and I do this and I've done that. And I'm like, who the fuck do you think you are? Like, I am just a stuck up
I
little
get it.
ego piece of shit. And I've been, and I'm not degrading myself. That was the part
No,
of
I know.
me.
I know. Me neither. I mean, don't forget, you're an Australian and I'm Canadian. We are a little self-deprecating, right? So
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's a whole podcast in itself. How many times the tall poppy, as we say in Australia, kicks
yeah.
in, we minimize ourselves without, you know what I
Yeah.
say? I say to my students, without you, it being you, shining your light, it's almost like you're not honoring God because you're trying to fit in to be something that you were born not to be.
When you say that, though,
Mm.
what do they need? A hug. Like, if you're not honoring God, you're not supposed to be punished. It's like
Yeah.
you're not honoring God. No, it's like you're not honoring God. Wow, you must really need a hug because you think
Aw.
there's something wrong with you. Like,
Yeah.
we need more compassion to ourselves and other people. We've been taught to, like you said in Australia, the tall poppy, let's throw them down. And in Canada, we apologize. Oh, don't get too big for your britches. It's like, well, that's what I love about America, though. I have to say, they are outrageously loud.
Yeah. Yeah,
And I
totally.
love it. I love it. I'm like, it's like, I'm fascinated to see what happens to all of us. But anyway, I think it's just make the commitment and make a commitment to love yourself and the people that are around you a little more. Dial your judgment down. That's the
Yeah.
other one. We'll say,
Yeah.
dial down that judgment, because the smugness is it's not valuable to anyone.
Yeah. I love the old, knowledge on this, which is anything that you judge in anyone else is something that you haven't learned to love within
Yeah.
yourself. It's a great mirror.
Yeah. But I get it. Anyway.
This is a wonderful conversation, and I love this transmission. I love your smile. I appreciate that we can go hard and fast and also gentle. I love that. They just need a hug. So a hug to anyone that is judging, including myself.
It's right. I mean, you need one too, but I get it. I think we get to a place too where we start seeing like, wow, look at how I've seen myself. But the ego, I've learned this, the ego is not something to get kicked to the curb. It will not minimize unless you acknowledge it and realize, wow, that's a whole thing based on all my wounds. This is woven together with us to protect me in some way. Not everybody can stomach what we're talking about, right? There's a lot of people that would roll their eyes and go, huh, or like they can't be successful unless they have that. But different. Your listeners know different. So do I. But this is a very harsh world we live in, and we can't bypass that. But it's not about being the one who's right to point out, oh, look at that horrible thing. And look, you're not doing it right. That doesn't work at all. Everybody, it's not going to help anyone, and also if you can't, I think so many of us look at what's going on in the world. We feel so powerless and angry that we know better. We could point them. We can tell them how to do it. We know how not to have that. And meanwhile, it's like we're not dealing with our own stuff in our own backyard. So it's like, look at what's going on globally and then find out locally how you can make a difference. Who can you make a difference with? Because that's really where it's at. There's so many people that are looking at all the problems that are going on in the Middle East, and they're not dealing with the fact that kids are starving. They need at home, and that doesn't mean not to have. I mean, I've sent money. I've done all this stuff. Like, it doesn't mean that we must be awake to see what's happening in the rest of the world. We are globally connected now. But if we feel powerless, find something small that you can do now in what's in front of you. Use your gift, your life force, your love to help somebody. And it may not be 1,000 people in Gaza, for example, but it could be that person in the Starbucks that is near suicidal and is so crabby and so like whatever, that you smile at them and give them the time of day for a minute. You don't even realize how much you could impact somebody just by being kind. Like it doesn't have to be big, giant gestures, but we need to be online and sovereign to do that. Because powerless people, hurt people are going to hurt people.
Oh, exactly. You know what I love about the whole thing that you talk about here with compassion and care, and the thing that you mentioned just before about not taking life seriously. I've had so many stories of people who have awakened to their higher power, like in many ways you have, and people who have had NDEs, near-death experience, and they've come back and they've said, huh, and like the old expression, people take life so seriously as to what the gods/God made for fun.
Yeah.
And then they come back to this and they go, what was I doing? I was hustling and grinding and stressing and rushing and being so serious my whole life. And it was all in vain. Like, I'm here to play. I'm here to love. I'm here to flow. I'm here to create. I'm here to be present. And yeah, you might have a grand vision that you're bringing forth. Like, I've got a massive dream. I know what I'm doing. I know why God put me on this earth. I had to die twice to kind of get that. I'm like, I get it. So there is this quest and there is sacrifice. Don't get me wrong. But gosh, how long I took it so seriously. And now I wake up this morning, my son comes in and gives me a hug and I'm like, yay! I'm like a giddy little kid because my day's perfect. And so it's like, where are you taking life so seriously? Where can you be more in the moment, enjoy? And thank you, Colette, for bringing out the conversation about laughter. This is so beautiful.
And be creative, like find something that you don't need to be perfect. Like, again, I am gonna mention my book again because I'm gonna show you my book. Actually,
Go. So let's do this right now.
Shamelessly self-promoting myself right now.
But you need to tell us about your book, and I want to hear about your decks as well. Where do we go to get your book and these beautiful?
Go to Amazon, right? Amazon. The Art of Manifesting is coming out September the 23rd. And it is a meditative drawing practice to rewire your brain and create your reality. And in it, myself and another artist came up with this pretty extraordinary technique that anybody can do. Like, even if you think you cannot draw a circle and your circles look like potatoes, you can do this. It's pretty astounding. And anyway, you'll just have to see it. Decks too. My decks are everywhere in Australia. If you have an audience that are outside Amazon, or go directly to Hay House. Hay House I've been with them since 2005. I have, as I said, created 19 Oracle decks. You just have to put my name, Colette Baron-Reid, into either Amazon or there, and you'll find out. My best-selling deck is Wisdom of the Oracle. It's the one I teach with and coach with, followed by Spirit Animal. Yeah. And then my recent deck, Guides of the Hidden Realms, is also, you'll have to see. You'll see what you resonate with.
I love it. Guides of the Hidden Realms. Okay, cool. And the website for people to learn more, you've got your Instagram, but the website is Colette, which is COLETTE, Baron, as in BARON, Reid, REID. So ColetteBaron-Reid.com. What's your Instagram?
I don't know.
Great answer. Great answer. You look it up, guys. You'll find it.
I don't go on it. I mean, I give my team pictures and things for them to post. I never look at the DMs. Once every 2 weeks, I'll go in there and do it. I have no idea what it is. I think it's Colette Baron_Reid. I don't really know.
We'll find it.
You guys are going to have to just find out.
I love that. Hey, before I ask you the last question.
TikTok.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think it's assaulting.
Yeah.
I don't have time. I'm too busy drawing, painting, creating decks.
You know what? And we didn't have a conversation about art, and we need to have that conversation.
Well, that's fine.
Let's do a sequel, yeah, at some point.
I would love to. You're all to talk to, and you've got the best energy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Life ahead of you for sure.
Oh, I appreciate you. Thank you.
I see it.
Okay, one last question for you, straight off the cup. Are you ready? All right. I want you now to imagine that you are on the world stage. Every sentient being alive has gathered, watching, tuning in, really present with your message. When you're ready, take a breath and do share. What is your message to the world right now?
Love each other and create. Love and create. Love and create. Love and create. That's it. Yeah, like I wouldn't even imagine myself being on a stage with every sentient being there. I'd be like, let's get along, for God's sakes, is what I would really want to say. And then let's have cheese.
Love it. Love it. Celebrating the simplicity and the beauty of it.
Let's get along, for God's sake. I mean, really, let's all make it work. We've been given a gift to this incredible planet, right? It's a shame. It's a shame. But
we're getting there. I'm pretty sure the man upstairs.
We will get there. I don't know in my lifetime that we will, but I think we're eking our way there. We are. Yeah. But take every moment counts. Don't waste it.
You're the best. This is Colette Baron-Reid, everybody. Thank you so much.